My name is Mark Sees. I'm the Wetlands Manager for the City of Orlando. Work for the Water Reclamation Division, part of the Public Works Department for the city, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about the Orlando Wetlands Park. This is actually the world's first large-scale constructed wetland treatment system that was designed and built to polish municipal reclaimed water. And so the way it works, back in the 1980s, a team of engineers and scientists and biologists came together and built this amazing facility. They found a 1,650-acre piece of property, and they took 1,200 acres, created earthen levees around the system to create 18 different individual treatment cells. Those treatment cells are all interconnected, and so what we do is we pipe the water from Orlando, the reclaimed water from our Iron Bridge Regional Water Pollution Control Facility, out here to the wetlands in a 48-inch diameter force main pipeline. We can pump up to 35 million gallons of water a day into the wetlands park. And so originally this was all cattle pasture. The levees were built and the water began to flow into the system. The levees were made so that it could control the water level, and so most of the cells have anywhere from 1 foot to 3 feet of water in them. And then we planted over 2.2 million plants by hand to turn this from a cattle pasture into a functioning wetland treatment system. And over 60 different native species were used to turn it from this pasture with pasture grass to a very diverse, high-functioning wetlands with an amazing array of wildlife species. The species of interest to you are the American alligator, of course, and when this project was first built, there would have been very little, if any, alligators on the property. And so once we built the wetland system, there is a canal that goes about 1.5 miles to 2 miles out to the St. Johns River. So once our water makes its way through the wetland system, the nutrients have been polished and removed from the water, it makes its way to the St. Johns River. And so the alligators, over time, made their way up the river to the wetlands and have been here ever since. And so today, we have about 1,700 alligators on the property. When the project first started, which was 1987, it's conceivable that there were no alligators here. So what makes the alligators thrive in this environment is the fact that we are pumping reclaimed water here. And in reclaimed water, the major constituents are nitrogen and phosphorus. And those are nutrients. It's the same thing that's in fertilizer that we put out onto our grass to make our grass grow. Well, fertilizer in water makes things grow. It makes algae typically grow. And so that's why we don't want to put the water into a lake, river, or stream. We don't want to grow algae. But in a wetland system, we love growing algae. Algae is the basis for the entire food chain. And so when we're pumping the nutrients into the system with the water, the food chain begins to flourish. And so we see a huge variety of wildlife here that basically thrive because of the nutrients that are flowing into the system each and every day. Just to give you an example, when the system was first being studied, the cattle pasture, the scientists found that there were 35 species of wildlife utilizing the cattle pasture. Today, we've documented over 240 species of birds, just birds, that utilize the wetlands park. And that's not to mention all of the mammals, all of the reptiles and amphibians that we have, like the American alligator.
The alligators are maintained. We have a contractor that comes in and harvested some of the eggs. As the Florida law, wildlife laws, is you can't harvest hatchlings and alligators off of the same area or the same contractor. So we don't harvest any of the hatchlings, but I think it's up to 60% of the population overall for the nests. Usually we'll have somewhere around 140 to 160 nests, and then you have 40 eggs per nest. Yeah, we're in constant daily contact with alligators. So you have to respect the situation, respect the nature, respect the alligator. Of course, we yield to the alligator.
alligators for 1 month at a time. Can't take over under 6 feet, and you can't take too many females. I think pollution on alligators in general is a big thing because people don't realize, like, even here, people walk by and throw their trash in their home, like this is where they live. It's just like if somebody was to walk in your house and throw trash in there. You know, I see a lot of trash in water everywhere, and it's like not even just in the ocean, it's in waterways, rivers, the sides of the dips in the sides of the highway that for water runoff. It's just trash is everywhere, and people are impacting them big time because just like fish, it can get stuck around them, it can get them caught, it can kill them. You know, it can kill off a limb if they get those bottle things wrapped around their arms, so it could really limit their survival skills. Any animal would live longer probably in the wild just because it's not relying on a human for food. They go out and they hunt it, they get it, they bring it, they take care of it themselves, they do it all. They also get bacteria that can come from human interactions. You can get bacteria from them, they can get bacteria from you. It's just like any cat or dog. So if you have human interaction more often, they're more likely to fade away faster, just like any other animal.
One of the big issues is, you know, humans and the interaction with alligators and humans. I mean, that's causing problems, you know, where alligators have attacked people. A lot of times we're finding that those alligators were fed, you know, they were harassed. They kind of had lost that fear of humans, and next thing you know, the alligator comes up and it's, before you know it, it's bit a human, and we've got a serious problem. So I think throughout the state, that's probably one of the biggest issues with alligators. You know, how can we avoid that? By making sure that people understand what the rules are. You know, if you have an alligator that's lost its fear of humans, we certainly need to call and report that alligator. You know, we need to encourage kids never to throw a stick at an alligator. Don't throw rocks at alligators. Don't ever feed an alligator. You know, all these are common things that we see humans doing. And so then we get upset that alligators are encroaching on humans' territory. Well, a lot of times it's the other way around. We've encroached on their territory and we didn't respect the alligator.
It's all about balance. Humans need to learn that we need to share.